Welcome to Healing Generations, a podcast creating a dialogue uplifting the importance of healing, strengthening, and supporting our communities, and that addresses the disparities and inequities in communities of color. Healing Generations is brought to you by the Healing Generations Institute, a collaborative initiative of the National Compadres Network and the Brotherhood of Elders. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on our new releases.
Welcome. I would like to welcome every one of you that are listening today. We welcome you to the Healing Generation podcast, sponsored by the Comadres, the National Comadres Network. And we are so glad that you're joining us today and that you're choosing to spend this time with us. I know there's 101 things that you could be doing right now, but we are so grateful that you're choosing to spend this time with us. So thank you. Thank you for being with us. And this is Deborah Camarillo. I'm here with my co-host, Maestra Susana Armijo. And we are going to have another adventure today. Very excited for that. Comadre, how are you doing?
Thank you, Comadre. Gracias a Dios, all is going well. My family's doing good. My children are beautiful and being the little angels that they are. Grandchildren are doing great. You know, I'm just really feeling good and just feeling so happy that as we're approaching the springtime.
Yes.
That time change just is magical. I love it. Every time it happens, it just seems like I get this burst of energy, and I'm just excited about the newness that's going to begin with the primavera, the spring, and all the butterflies that'll be coming out, and just ready to embrace it all, Maestra. Thank you so much.
Well, you know, that's a really good point, right? The springtime, the beginning, that's where the buds start to come out and they start to open up and the colors start to come back. Mm-hmm. And really this podcast is all about that. Mm-hmm. You know, we hope that you as listeners will hear something that will be able to open you up, will help you bloom, that will bring you into your color. As you hear words that are exchanged today, it's not called Healing Generations for nothing, because we have the purpose that there's something that you will hear today that will help you along that journey of healing. So thank you again for joining us. And Comadre, what do we have? I know we have an exciting guest today. I'm really excited about this podcast. So do you want to share who we have with us today?
Yes, Comadre, and it's so exciting for me. This special guest has been so special in my life for so many years. I'm so proud that she's going to be on with us today. I've personally been blessed to walk alongside of her for the last 15 years, and I'm so amazed to have witnessed some of her most challenging circumstances and see her apply her ancestral teachings and rise and overcome her obstacles and just blossom into this beautiful, dedicated, loving mujer, strong mujer that she is today. So honored to announce Miss Patti Lopez. Mrs. Lopez, she is a proud Chicana born and raised in East Los Angeles, California. She's also a mother and two beautiful sons, a wife, a daughter, a sister, a mexica danzante, a comadre, our comadre, and a mental health provider. Patti's been an active member of the Chicanx movement since she was a youth, and a proud Mexica dancer for 15 years. She holds a Bachelor's of Arts degree in Psychology and Chicano Studies from UCLA. Also has earned a Master's degree of Arts in Marriage and Family Therapy, specializing in Latinx family studies. And she's now currently working as a clinical counselor at a charter high school in Northeast Los Angeles, California. And we're so honored to have her here with us. Mija, so happy to have you here. I'm going to go ahead and pass some palabra to you, let you introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about who you are, your family background, and maybe even a little bit about the work that you're connected to at this time.
Ometeo,
Oh, Mateo.
Tlazokamati. Buenas tardes, maestras. Buenas tardes to our listeners. It's an honor to participate in this plática of healing wisdom. I want to begin by acknowledging that I speak to you today from the traditional territory of the Tangva Nation, the original inhabitants of this land. And I would like to give thanks to the Great Spirit, Mother, Father, Creator, for blessing me with one more day of life and for giving me this special opportunity to share a little bit of what I have learned through my life journey. I would also like to give thanks to the sacred four directions and the four elements that make life possible. Lastly, I would like to give my deepest appreciation to the National Comadres and Compadres Network and all the maestras and maestros for the beautiful healing work that you all provide. So a little bit about myself. Like Maestra Susie said, I am a Chicana born and raised in East Los Angeles. I am proud of growing up in the barrio. Just really want to acknowledge that experience.
Órale.
And I feel very fortunate to have been given the opportunity to receive an education in the university. And I feel even more fortunate to have also received great teachings in the community by elders and medicine people of indigenous knowledge and wisdom.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just so happy and feeling so blessed, so grateful to all the elders, curanderos, curanderas, maestras, maestros, who have blessed me with their love and medicine. And I just want to take a few moments to acknowledge my ancestors, my grandmothers, who protect and guide me every day. I want to acknowledge my grandmothers, Juanita Campos Rodriguez, Lilian Paz Gonzalez, Rosario Lopez, my great-grandmother, Crescencia Lopez, and Romilia Gonzalez Paz, and my great-great-grandmother, Isabel Gonzalez Paz, also known as Mama Chave. And just want to call them in here with me today to have them join us and to bless us with their love and kindness. Although I didn't get a chance to meet them in person, I am proud to have learned their names and their stories through the conversations with my mom, Juanita Gonzalez, on my journey to trace back my roots. So I come from a lineage of very strong women. And as my husband sometimes calls me or calls us, mujeres de carácter fuerte. And so that, meaning that we're strong-willed women. And as we celebrate International Women's Day this month, and really we should celebrate women all year long, I just want to give a special shout out to all the Women Nation who bring love, joy, and creative energies to the world. Thank you, Maestra.
Wow.
Powerful.
Powerful. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's always exciting, and it's very exciting for me when I see young women that were determined to have their dream come true. And when I see you and you finished your bachelor's, you finish your master's, and now all that energy is projected into the work that you're doing now with familias in the community. That's so amazing because our communities need our gente. They need to have that reflection of who they are, right, in us. And so it excites me very much to have you here with us and to speak about your journey, right? And also knowing that you will be there to aid those families that come and sit across you, that you journey with. What a beacon of hope and light for them. But can we go back a little? Because I know it wasn't that easy to get to this place, right? And so let's talk about some of that part of the journey, right? And in looking into that journey, what were those things that help you stick through it? Those times where you said, I can't do it no more. What was it that helped you to hang on and to get you to the place that you are today? Can you share some of that part of your journey?
Yes, Maestra Debra, thank you so much for that question. So my guiding light and my inspiration has always been my family and my beautiful, loving mother. So my family has taught me many lessons in life. My family has taught me the importance of love and compassion. My mother has a very big, tender heart, and she has taught me to be kind and accepting of diverse people. She's the kind of person who will be standing in the market and will, spark up a conversation with the person right next to her. And I just love seeing her just, interact and greet people and really have that human connection with others. So my mother came from very humble beginnings, and she taught me to appreciate all the little things in life that bring joy and happiness, even in the toughest moments. So just, seeing her work hard and always just give it all she has to support us and to raise us in a good way has always shown me, what it's like to be a strong woman, a dedicated and committed woman. And my family has also taught me that good people sometimes make mistakes, and, some of the greatest lessons I've learned are a result of those mistakes. But, even with those mistakes, I've learned that it's never too late to recover and to find peace. So some of the greatest lessons I have learned are about the importance of acknowledging the past in order to understand the present and ultimately create a healthier future. I have realized that much of the pain we carry comes from way back, as far back as the conquest and the colonization of indigenous lands and people. And this deeply rooted historical trauma is still very much present in our current world. And only when we acknowledge the pain and suffering that colonization has caused can we better understand the current conditions of our collective soul wound. So what I have discovered is that our ancestral memory, our teachings, our traditional ways are an antidote to heal those spiritual wounds that are often not visible, but very much present in the life challenges such as addictions, domestic violence, self-harm, and violence of all kind. So in college, I studied psychology, but never really felt connected to that Western philosophy of the scientific study of the mind. And when I discovered the sacred teachings of Tezcatlipoca, I found that connection that I was looking for. So Tezcatlipoca is a Nahuatl philosophy that is often described as a smoking mirror. And Tezcatlipoca, to me, represents that deeply rooted ancestral genetic memory that we all carry in our DNA. And when we choose to wake up, activate, reconnect with our ancestral memory, we find the answers to transform and live in alignment and harmony. And although it can be hard to recognize our ancestral memory because we have to revisit the painful memories and ruptures in our family's past, if we can make that journey back, we can find that ancestral medicine that our people have used to survive for generations. So I think those are the really big lessons that I've learned that I would love to share with everyone because, like Maestra Debra said, it's one of those things easier said than done,
Yeah.
But it's possible. I'm living proof,
Yeah.
Absolutely, Mija, you are. You are. Thank you for sharing that. I've known you for a long time, and it's been so beautiful just to see your transformation, almost like that same process of the butterfly. When you first came to me, it was almost like you were in that caterpillar stage, just crawling in and not knowing what's next, just one foot in front of the other, only seeing, one step at a time, but still wanting to learn, wanting answers, and wanting that transformation for your own healing and for your family. Personally, I know when I was at that place and when you walked in, it was like in La Que You Are My Other Me. Like I remember being in that place and not knowing what is the next step and being stuck and not wanting to live anymore and just wanting to live, but just not wanting to be in pain anymore. Just so overwhelmed by the time I was your age at that time. So right away, I just being in your presence, I was just seeing a younger reflection of myself. And I knew for me, what helped to get me unstuck and what helped me to reconnect to my DNA, my intergenerational DNA and ancestors was the gift of danza. And I know that's been a big part of your medicine as well. You've shared many times on different podcasts that journey, but I'm wondering if you would be willing to share how you came into the danza and how that helped your transformation process through the years, being connected.
Yes, Maestra Susie, thank you so much for that question. It's a very important part of my life and development, reconnecting to my culture. I think it really started when I was able to take a little break from the barrio. Growing up here in East LA, you see a lot of things around you, not always positive. So being able to get accepted into a university and just enter that whole new world really gave me a different perspective. It helped me see that life isn't always just what it seems like in the barrio. So, luckily I was able to join Mecha and a lot of student organizations, being involved in the community and just knowing that there's more of us who are trying to make change and, sharing our journey and trying to find that positive hope that we know exists in our hearts. And so actually, I was able to get connected to the danza through a good friend of mine. And so she helped me connect to my maestro in the danza. And it wasn't until I was able to graduate college and come back to my community that I really reconnected with the danza. And it was hard, in the beginning, just trying to figure out how to turn and where to step and how to follow those beats, feeling just really vulnerable in the beginning and feeling like, just your head trying to coordinate with your body and your heart trying to speak to your mind. And, it takes a lot of coordination, but once you're able to find that connection, once you feel comfortable and you just let that music, that drum beat guide you, and, for me, I'm always, thinking and trying to figure things out. But in the danza, like you just let your body feel, you let the spirits connect to you. And it's such a magical experience. I really would encourage, everyone to try it out and to have that firsthand experience. And, in the beginning, it's hard, but then you enjoy it. You start to learn it more. You learn your danzas. You progress and you develop. And, I remember times when I was dancing for hours at ceremonies, just feeling exhausted physically, but just so filled beautifully with that medicine. And I would even feel like I was flying. I felt connected to that bird spirit with my plumas and just feeling the wind and my breeze by me. It's such a magical, beautiful experience. And so just really feeling blessed and recharged with that medicine in my life and giving thanks, for all the teachers, the maestros and maestras, the people committed to preserving our cultural traditions in these ways. And, and you start off with the danza and then you learn your cantos and then you start making your trajes and, it's like there's so much to learn and grow and, you just find joy in the simplest things. So it's a beautiful experience.
Thank you, Mija.
Wow. Yeah, the process, right? We're talking about the process.
Yeah.
And I think when we talk process and we talk healing, those are things that just don't happen overnight, right? There's consistency. You got to repeat and practice and go out there when you don't feel like going out there to continue, to get to that place where you can have that freedom and the liberty to just flow with the spirit, right? Thank you for that. I was just wondering, Padre, if you could share, because you were specific in what you chose to study. Right? So I know you're an MFT now in that process and serving the community. Can you share why you chose that field and what do you hope that your life's impact would be with the degree that you have and your vision of the work that you would like to see happen?
Yeah, so I was really excited when I learned the field of marriage and family therapy, because I think it's so important, having support for our familias. I know from my mom personally, she would always say, I wish I could have done things better, pero no tuve la educación, no tuve la información, no pude hacer más porque no sabía cómo. Nadie me enseñó, so I think it's hard to be a parent,
Yeah.
It's just acknowledging how hard it is. Now that I have my own children, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what do I do? How do I handle the situation when, you're having a bad day and your little one's, not feeling good and you're stressed out and you're like, okay, what do I do here? How do I, regulate myself? How do I get myself in a good place to help my little one, And so I know that, like, as parents, we forget about, like, the little things sometimes, when we're having a bad day and you come in and, maybe you're not feeling good and you say a comment to your child, like, it can be very harmful. It could be very hurtful for that little one to see you in that way and to hear those words, even though to you it really isn't a big deal, But I think it's really important to just acknowledge the impact that we have as parents on our children, because there are little semillitas, there are little plantitas that are flourishing, that are growing. So the example that we set for them is huge. We really impact our children's lives and development in ways that we don't even sometimes acknowledge, So for me, marriage and family therapy, being a Spanish speaker, a bilingual Chicana, and coming from that upbringing, that firsthand experience for me was very powerful. And so when I became a parent, I struggled a lot to find those ways to be gentle, to be loving, to really just get down on my knees and be at my son's, eye to eye and see him from his perspective and understand, his feelings and validate his feelings, because little people, our children, they're so vulnerable and they're so sensitive. And so just really trying to honor my children in a good way as sacred little human beings it was a struggle for me to figure that out. And so when I started studying in this field, I realized, like, wow, there is information, there are ways, there are teachings. One of the things I like most about this field is the idea of attachment, having a secure attachment to a caregiver. Once you have that secure attachment to your caregiver, then you know what security means as an individual, And if you grow up feeling secure about yourself, you can explore the world. You're more open to try things out, to know what feels safe, to know what doesn't feel safe, But when you don't have that security, we call it an insecure attachment. And so having an insecure attachment can really be confusing because you don't have that security. And so helping parents learn about, like, attachment and security and insecurities, if you have that insecure relationship as a child, you'll probably have an insecure relationship as an adult, So it's a process. It's not an easy thing, but it's possible. And, one interesting thing that I have learned is that even if you didn't have that secure childhood, like I struggled with sometimes, because my mom was always working and wasn't always available for me. And, she was working hard because she had to pay the bills and couldn't really be there because she was working. But I realized through self-discovery, you can create your own secure attachment to yourself. So having that compassion, having that understanding and love for yourself, you can discover that for yourself, even if you didn't have it as a child. So yeah, it's a beautiful experience to work in this way.
Yeah, and you bring such a good point, because I know that when we go out there and we're working within the community, one of the first things we talk about are our 4 ancestral teachings. And the first one is all about that security, because it's the welcoming, it's the blessing. It's that we are sacred. So when that child can really feel welcomed and sacred and loved and a blessing. Wow, that creates that foundation of security to know that they have those that are around them to protect them, right? And so, those, and that's the very first of the ancestral teachings. And when we look about that, and I know that me and Maestra have been many places and have shared about this, we look at our youth today, and they have the contrary messages, right? That they're not wanted,
Right.
that we don't want you around, that there isn't anything sacred about you. And as a result, they act it out. They push that forward. They act in unsacred ways because that's the message that they're getting. And so I really appreciate that you bring that point, the security, because when we're in that alignment of the sacredness of who we are as human beings, wow, the way that we think and the way that we act is very, very different. And I don't know, Master, does that bring up anything for you, thinking about this? Because I know we have had many conversations around this.
Absolutely. Yeah, it just brings me back to, and I say it because of my own personal experience of how vital and important it is that our children get that first lesson, that welcoming, knowing that they're wanted, knowing that we're going to be here for them and creating that safe space. Because I know personally I didn't have that, and that I didn't realize that's what I didn't have, but I knew there was something missing, that why my spirit was never settled, why I had trouble sleeping, why I was always on alert, why I was always, my spirit never at peace, if you will. It's just always waiting for the next trauma or drama to happen. And I spent years trying to fill that void and feeling it, looking for love in all the wrong places, using other things to try to fill the emptiness. So what Pati's talking about right now is just so vital, and it's so beautiful that she understands that. So she's working with these families, all this wisdom and this knowledge that she's understanding from a personal level is going to be passed on to them to help them to find the answers and know the teachings and know what is important as they continue to raise their own families. And in knowing you, Pati, you've been very blessed, first of all, with your mama. Such a woman of high integrity and corazón and connection to Creator and the ancestors. She just, wherever room she's in, she just emanates that love and light, with her smile right away and her voice and just her mannerisms that we've all been blessed to be surrounded with in her presence. You've been surrounded by a lot of strong mujeres, a lot of maestras. You've been to a lot of ceremonias. You've seen a lot of things, and you know how everything is interconnected. Intergenerationally, with the mujeres that that you've been surrounded with, that have helped to guide you and support you and teach you. Now that you are in this position, such a powerful, priceless position, because you're healing generations. And that's what this whole podcast is about, is focusing on healing generations intergenerationally. What I'd like to know is, what are some of those lessons culturally, traditionally, ceremonially, that you feel are important, that you've learned from your experiences as well as your family and your maestras in your healing journey, that you want to cultivate and teach with the clients that you work with and the familias? I know there's so many lessons, but what do you feel maybe you could share 4 of those basic teachings that you feel like, if these are fundamental, like you guys got to get this before we could get to the next level of bringing you together and healing as a familia?
That's a big question, Maestra.
I know there's so many, but just from your own experience, what's been helpful for you? And I know one of them, if I had to say one, would be being surrounded by people I feel safe with. And you were expressing that already, creating that safe space.
Yes, it's so important to be connected to community, to know that like we're not alone, to know that we need help sometimes. It's hard to be vulnerable. It's hard to ask for help. It's hard to say that I'm not okay.
Mm-hmm.
Just that, I think that first step of realizing that we need help, is so important. I think that's sometimes the hardest step, just being okay with not being okay.
Yes.
And I experience this daily. I experience this all the time. But knowing that there is a community, knowing that there are maestras, maestros, sometimes, people you don't even know, people that are not in your family are some of the greatest teachers that you can experience, because they come from a different place, They have a different perspective that can help you understand your life and help you understand your journey. So just finding that connection to get what you need, I think, is important, and in general mental health, it's hard to work in this field, because people have a lot of negative stigmas, and why am I going to tell a stranger my problems, or I don't know you, why am I going to tell you my life story, or why am I going to share with you my deepest, darkest secrets? It's not it's not easy to go back to those places. But in mental health, at least the way I've been taught in the lessons that I've learned, is a safe space, is creating a safe space and meeting people where they're at, trying to just be real gentle, trying to get to know people and not as their scars or not as their symptoms,
Absolutely.
It's just being human, remembering that we're human to human, like the other day I was working with a student, and he was sharing with me his story, and I just felt like this immense need to cry, and I kind of felt like, okay, I'm just gonna do it, I'm gonna cry. And I had to tell him, like, you know what, I'm sorry, this probably isn't what you expect from a professional mental health provider, but I'm a human being, and I'm feeling these very strong emotions, and I'm a very sensitive person, and I'm gonna cry because that's how I'm feeling, and it's okay to cry, and he was just like, it's okay, miss, it's okay. So he was supportive of me, and I appreciate that, because it's a very intimate experience, But, one really important lesson, and I think this one takes all of them, it wraps them up into one. I would like to offer the teachings of the sacred circle and the medicine wheel. And these teachings show us that we all have a place in the sacred circle in life, and we all have a purpose. We're all important. We all have something to share in order for the sacred circle of life to be complete. So I encourage everyone to find their place in the sacred circle, to honor themselves and the medicine that they all carry within. We're all interconnected in the sacred circle, the children, the women, the men, the elders. And finally, I would like to honor and remember the medicine of the butterfly and the incredible transformation that is possible in our relatives of the butterfly, beings. And so much like the monarch butterfly that travels thousands of miles to complete their migration cycle from north to south, they utilize their genetic memory to guide their journey through multiple generations to keep their species alive. So just want to acknowledge that we too can use our genetic memory to keep our people alive, healthy and strong, have a strong future generation that knows how to navigate through the toughest conditions. And if a little butterfly can make it thousands of miles and, withstand these really harsh conditions, I firmly believe that we as people can as well.
You bring a very interesting example, right? The monarch butterfly. And I think that as people connected to the earth, we observe those lessons and those teachings, from our teachers of the animal kingdom and from the plant world and just in nature in general, right? Because they have so much to teach us and show us. And you reminded me one time as I was looking into the butterfly. They're so fascinating. Butterflies are so fascinating. And I was looking into them, because I was really concentrating on the end product, right? That beautiful butterfly that comes out. But then I started to look at what is that process. And that is so fascinating because before the butterfly is the butterfly, into the beauty, into that period that is the culmination, the climax of the journey, right? It starts as the caterpillar, that little egg that forms into the caterpillar. And it's very interesting because they say that, the process of that. So the caterpillar eats and eats and eats because there's the juvenile hormone that has to be produced to prepare that caterpillar to go into that metamorphosis. And so they eat and eat and eat and eat and eat and eat and increase that the juvenile hormone. But then there's this point where they have to decrease that eating. And if they don't decrease it, what happens is that they'll eat themselves to death. They keep going, and then they die, and they die of dehydration. So that there's this really important part where what they're doing needs to slow down. And when it slows down, that's what kicks the next stage in gear, which is the cocoon. So then they're able to spin that cocoon and go inside, right? So they go inside, and there's where the transformation is happening. It's like they become this soup, right? All that, the hormone, that juvenile hormone takes on this other stage, and it starts to create. And what I thought was so fascinating is that cellular structure, that cell, is called the imagined cell. And I found that so fun because I'm like, they're in that little soup imagining, what am I going to be? How am I going to come out?
Wow.
What color am I going to pick? Like they're in there.
Wow.
And then they're just, that design is happening in that state of darkness because they haven't come out yet. And I've often thought about that, like, wow, for us as people, thinking people, we really need to imagine, to get those imagined cells going in our lives so we can define ourselves, as good people, productive, gente in our communities, engaging in healing and positive things, But anyways, back to the cocoon, right? They're in that cocoon, and so that state is complete. And even let me back up a little bit because that little caterpillar, when it goes to make that cocoon, it finds a place that's a protective place. So that little caterpillar is not no dummy. It's going to find a nice little place where it can hide, and camouflage into the elements around so a bird won't come by and just pick it and eat it, or somebody won't knock it, or the wind won't knock. They find these places to assure that process is uninterrupted, right? But then, before they break out, all the conditions have to be in alignment. It has to be safe to come out. And when those elements, that environment is right, it's not too hot, not too cold, then they come out and they just, they come out of their cocoon, and then you begin to see that imagined cell in reality, right? Mm-hmm. Those beautiful wings, the colors that they have as they start to unfold and spread their wings to begin then to embark on the next stage, which is that flying life. And when I think about that, and I think about you, and I think about our young people that are committed to these healing journeys, right? Mm-hmm. That time in the cocoon is so difficult, because that's where our traumas are transforming and taking on this new metamorphosis of positiveness, of loving, of compassion, of healing. That's that opportunity right there, right? Of the transformation into healing. But we have to go through that cocoon, that dark, hard part, right? And I look at you today and I was like, just like the maestra said, yes, you're that butterfly today,
Absolutely.
you know? And you were named appropriately too, right? To acknowledge that as you're not what name. But can you share how now, as a butterfly flying around, as a mama of the two kids, where are you at there now today? How are you feeling today about your life, the things that you are doing? What do you still want to accomplish? What are some of those parts of you?
So just really want to give thanks and acknowledge my maestras here and Maestro Jerry and the Sacred Circle Healing Center in Whittier, California. Just want to give a from the bottom of my heart a big muchas gracias, because you created that safe space for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like Maestra Deborah was saying, you got to have that right condition, feeling that like you're not going to be disturbed or you're not interrupted in your metamorphosis process. And I firmly believe that if I wouldn't have been a part of the Sacred Circles Healing Center, I don't know if I would have been able to make it this far. So yeah, just really want to thank you so much, Susie, Maestra Susie, Maestro Jerry, Maestra Debra, having those retiros,
Mm-hmm.
having that beautiful, blessed, time to just receive that medicine, to be in a sacred space and to just process. We need to bring those practices back to our community. That's the only way we're going to be able to have that transformation. And so currently I'm learning to take life one day at a time, striving to honor my sacredness each day and to be a fully present human being. It's really hard to do that with our busy lives, and just learning to be loving to myself and practice self-compassion. I'm learning how to be a good mother and provide a safe, healthy experience for my children. I'm learning how to strengthen my connection to the plant medicine and discover ways that Mother Earth provides for us each day. The connection to the 4 directions and the 4 elements is very powerful. And I'm trying not only to use these teachings in my daily life, but finding ways to incorporate this into my work, and mental health. And my dream is to one day have a private practice and utilize the plant medicine and connection to Mother Earth as methods of healing, as our ancestors have done and continue to do, for thousands of years. And Mother Earth is so loving and provides so much for us, her children. She not only provides food, flowers, trees, everything we need to survive. She also teaches us about the life cycles, the changing seasons, the process of development and growth. And she teaches us about the sacred interconnectedness that exists between all living beings and our delicate ecosystem. We have to find better ways to live more consciously and respectfully to keep our Mother Earth healthy and habitable for all living beings, all living creatures. And, ultimately our children and future generations are depending on us to stop the contamination, to stop the destructive ways that currently exist in our world. We gotta really learn and practice these teachings for our little ones, our future generations, to teach them these ways so that they can be strong and that they can have that guidance and that wisdom. They continue on once we're not here on this earth anymore. We transform, definitely, but we need to really plant those seeds in our little ones and have them be strong and confident people. So yeah, just really want to give thanks for this opportunity. It's so amazing to be a part of this network, to be a part of this community of people trying to just help bring healing to our world and to our communities. Gracias, maestras.
Oh, thank you, mijita. Thank you. It's so happy, so proud of you, mija. We'll always be here for you as long as we can.
Thank you.
And your familia. And those beautiful boys of yours. it's coming to the end of our time, which we always feel so bad about because we just like to have a plática with our comadres like forever. It's a ceremony in itself every time we do this. And when we learn so much and we get so much, everybody's always thanking us for holding the space for them. But it's so healing for us as well.
Yes,
And to be able to do this, Gracias a Dios and the Compadres Network and Maestro Jerry and the Healing Generations Institute as well. But before you go, we're not going to let you off the hook here. There's a final question, and whatever comes to your heart. I know you have those two beautiful sons, and there's many lessons of wisdom that you are going to teach them and that you want them to carry forward in their own families and the future generations to come. But just wondering if you could leave us some consejos, some advice that you would like to offer to others that are listening on their journey, and what would be helpful maybe in terms of their own healing and their own health and well-being as they continue to move forward in their healing process. If there's anything that comes to your mind that you would want to share, so appreciate it.
Gracias, Maestra, for that question. And I think it really goes back to the idea of, just taking one step at a time, trying to take those deep breaths, that sacred breath that, we come out of the womb and we take that first big breath and we cry. Usually it's hard to take that big first breath because, when we're in the belly of our mother, when we're in the womb, we're safe and we're warm and we're protected. And when we come out, it's this whole new experience and just adapting to the new environment and just remembering that breath medicine and practicing it. Sometimes it's hard to believe, but we forget to breathe sometimes, that susto, that trauma, that busy mind that we're always struggling with. So the way to help calm that mind is to be present in your body. And to be present in your body, you have to realize what you're feeling, using your five senses to reconnect with your body, your eyes, your sense of smell, your taste, the sounds you hear, the touch you feel. We do a lot of the grounding techniques in our mental health, but really, coming back to our breath, it's there all the time. You don't need to go anywhere. You don't need to buy anything. Just take that big, sacred, deep breath. So learning the practice of deep breathing has really been helpful for me. And I had to take one of those big, deep breaths right now.
Good example. Living the teachings.
Yeah, starting your day off. Sometimes it just takes, 1 minute of 5 big, deep breaths, centering yourself, getting yourself in a good place to start your day. I think is just those really basics, to help us all just learn to walk in a good way and to do the best we can each day, and just to live in gratitude. Everything happens for a reason. Remember that there's always a purpose for why things happen, and asking for help and finding that help. It's a process, but it's possible. It's totally possible. And with beautiful maestras, like Maestra Susie, Maestra Debra, Maestro Jerry, just, connecting to people who have that knowledge and wisdom, it's always so important. And being able to share those teachings once you've made that, once you've crossed that bridge, just continuing forward, teaching others, sharing what you know, and making our world a better place. Oh, Mateo, taso kamati.
Oh, Mateo.
Oh, Mateo.
Wow. Well, I just want to thank you so much, Pati, for being with us here today. And to our listeners, Pati is in the field of mental health, and our communities are struggling with different mental health challenges. And I just want to encourage you, if you're finding yourself in that position, there's someone there in your community that you can reach out to get the support that you need. There's nothing wrong with getting support when you need it. If we cut our hand, we wouldn't think about any problem. I need to go get some Band-Aids or something to clean it up or whatever. We wouldn't think twice about getting help.
Mm-hmm.
And we shouldn't think twice about getting help for any of our mental health challenges. So we encourage you today, if you're struggling with depression or anxiety, addiction, whatever it is, we guarantee there's someone there in your community that would love to help you. And if you can't find anyone, please reach out to us. We will help you find someone.
Mm-hmm.
And the other part, I know that there was something that you heard today that really connected with you, that resonated with you. Maybe you're in that state of the cocoon where that part of trying to figure out, or maybe the desperations of wanting to give up. But we encourage you today, don't give up. You're sacred. You're sacred just the way you are. And if you stay there, the time will come that metamorphosis will happen, and you will break through that cocoon and be that beautiful butterfly that you are with those radiant colors. So thank you. Thank you. We are just so grateful that you joined us today, and again to the National Compadres Network that allow us to be here. We sponsor this podcast once a month on behalf of the National Comadres, and so we're so grateful that you joined us today. I don't know, Comadre, I'm feeling really good.
I feel my wings want to fly away. Keep flying. Mija, thank you so much. It's so beautiful. And like I said, we're always here for you and just going to continue supporting you along your journey in any way that we can, and praying for you, your compañero, your niños, and your mama, and your familia, and asking Creator to bless you in all that you do each and every day. You're so devoted and committed to serving and being a vessel for Creator. So may God bless you always and forever.
Muchas gracias, maestras. Igualmente, bendiciones to all of the people listening out there, sending my love, sending my strength to you, sending my prayers for healing for all of our communities and our people. Muchas gracias.
Gracias.
Thank you. Yes, again, thank you. Thank you to all our listeners out there. We just send bendiciones to you, and we look forward to being with you in the next month. So with that, we'll sign off. This is Deborah Luis Camarillo saying bendiciones. We'll see you next time.
And Susana Armijo, adelante.
Bendiciones a todos, comunidad. Gracias. Blessings.
For more information about Healing Generations and the Healing Generations Institute, visit nationalcompadresnetwork.org and be sure to subscribe to stay up to date with our new releases.